You know what? I really like how the currency in this game is called Dosh. It makes me feel like I'm actually in a fantasy version of the UK. Sorta. Not really. No. Fantasy Life is, as the name implies, a life simulation game released on the Nintendo 3DS in 2012 in Japan and 2014 in the West by developers Level 5, who brought us the Professor Layton series in Ni no Kuni, 1UP Studio, who helped Nintendo with Super Mario 3D Land, and h.a.n.d, who, pun intended, played a hand in games such as Final Fantasy Fables, Chocobo Tales, and Harvest Moon My Little Shop. In this game you play as a self-insert who, after picking a job and meeting a talking butterfly, is ultimately tasked with investigating the strange happenings around the world of Riveria, involving meteorites making monsters behave violently. On top of that, depending on the job selected, your player character must also complete various challenges to become better at his or her job. Or if you so choose, you can change your job to another job that you like, all the while selling the fruits of your labour and buying more materials, or eventually, your own house. So let's get things underway and start off with the good. I thoroughly enjoyed the job system in Fantasy Life altogether. There are 12 jobs for you to choose from, so you are a little spoilt for choice. Each of those jobs also complement another, or in some cases several other jobs. The skills you learn in one job are kept when you switch, so you can use your abilities as a miner to mine ore for you to refine and create weapons with as a blacksmith. You can then use those weapons as a paladin or a mercenary to defeat monsters, which in turn drop materials to benefit other jobs, and make the area safe for mining or woodcutting, thus bringing the cycle full circle. You don't have to play the game alone either. You can enlist some of your friends to aid you in your quest, or if you're like me and played the game in single player, there are a number of NPCs you can recruit to join you to make your mass genocide of the local wildlife and habitat a little easier and less boring. While certain monsters in the games initially force you to avoid them because they're too strong, once you gain enough experience and get stronger, through teamwork or pure strength can you bring these titans down, and by God it's a satisfying feeling. The game also runs at a very chill pace. In between the story you can run around and collect materials or beat up monsters at your own leisure, the game only continuing once certain requirements are met, which I'll talk more about shortly. This also affects where the player can roam, as certain areas will only open up once you reach a certain point in the story. For a place that's supposed to be in trouble, they're sure letting you take your sweet time and saving it. What it can't save, however, is the bad. It was hard for me to think of some bad things about this game, so the ones I really had a gripe with were that the requirements to continuing the story is all dependent on jobs that you do for your glowing butterfly companion. So I can't move on to the next part of the story unless I take the butterfly to the library, or I show the butterfly what a dog looks like. While I can unlock requirements needed to appease the butterfly by doing things I typically do in a game like selling items or walking X amount of steps, I still need to take the butterfly to see things or places in order to gain enough bliss points to progress. Admittedly though, as an incentive you can unlock life bonuses for getting certain amounts of bliss points, such as carrying more items or owning a pet. However, that means I need to keep my butterfly overlord happy in order to enjoy the privileges of riding a horse or owning a dog, which all sounds very stupid to me. Another thing I wasn't particularly keen on was how repetitive some of the jobs were. The process in which you cooked and made things were exactly the same with button prompts in a different order. The 3DS does have a second screen, and I felt that the second screen could have been better utilised for some of those processes, especially for cooking and blacksmithing. On top of that, some of the challenges can only be completed while you're in that class, so defeating the Napdragon or the Pickaxe Golem doesn't mean squat unless you've completed it and handed the bounty in as a paladin. Whilst you can complete a challenge for cutting down a certain amount of trees as any class, providing you unlock the challenge as a woodcutter in the first place. So I think now with my wee rant over, I think we can move on to the next part of this review. The ugly. The game looks and runs quite smoothly on the 3DS. Only noticeable slowdowns were when there were too many things on the screen. However, I'm not going to hold that against the game because I had a full party and I just happened to be running around a very populated area. The game does have a very relaxing soundtrack, and I was quite fond of the art style. The environments I also thought were masterfully done in the game, and whether you're on a snowy mountain or the desert, the game captures the essence of the locations very well, especially in conjunction with the day and night system. Of course, the game does pride itself on gameplay over its graphics, and I thought the balance and execution between the two was done very well. So with that, I'm going to leave things with a final thought. At the end of the day, I enjoyed playing Fantasy Life. The game kept me busy with a lot of the quests given to me by the NPCs, and it's a hard game to put down as a result of it. Whether you decide to put the game down after getting this one resource or beating this monster, you can certainly see yourself still playing this up to hours after telling yourself to stop. In all, I give this game a Napdragon out of 10. If you play this during a warm afternoon, you'll find yourself wanting to take a nap, not out of boredom, but because of how chill the game's atmosphere is, or the fact that you said you'd stop playing after killing that monster a few hours ago. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next Infinite Backlog review.